right, thank you. Any other witnesses? All right, thank you.
I make a motion at this point, based on the best testimony that you have here. There's nothing here specific with regard to 2610 Harford Road that anywhere comes close to a protest of renewal on this thing. You have things that happen outside. There's no testimony to anything that happened inside the location. And in fact, I hate, because Mr. Washington and I, we go back and forth a lot on it. Even he says he can't link anything to this particular establishment. There's nothing can link anything that happens to this particular establishment. I would say that your records, if you look at your cards, will say it was transferred on January the 15th. It's a matter of public record. There's nothing that even rises to that occasion to have a protest or renewal in this situation here. The people aren't here to testify. They can take anything you want to have. The pictures don't show anything that rise to it, and there's been no police reports. There's been nothing that really comes to the point where they can do a protest or renewal.
In response.
Are police reports required?
No, but the...
Yeah, don't stop asking Mr. Kudinski questions. You just ask, or you can ask us a rhetorical question. That's okay. So,
I mean, what is the threshold?
The protestants must be here. They must be present.
Well, they're being threatened, so they're afraid.
all right, so let's then address the next issue. Please keep it down. Specific complaints. That's what we're looking for, specific complaints. Tell us the specific complaints that you have listed for us today. Let's go through them.
Evidently, you know what was presented by Mr. Washington in the petition are the complaints. And what I attempted to offer, what was received and what wasn't, was our evidence of what the complaints are. And, well.
So I just want to be clear. It says that establishments of similar and comparable nature currently serve the community in close proximity. In addition, the intentional targeting of underage youth by this establishment through the strategic, highly visible placement of goods and products aimed at younger demographic acts to ensure, establish, indoctrinate, and connect these underage patrons to a product they are legally prohibited from purchasing. So that was in the preamble, but I haven't heard anything to support that.
Mr. Washington and Mary Pat Clark, who would both have more information than I would because I don't live there, but she represents and he lives there.
They had their opportunity to speak, Ms.
Well,
Hughes. So,
then-
so the petition itself, there's some concerns. Mr. Washington stated, he testified he procured 5 signatories and he couldn't identify the rest. And you asked, what is the threshold? He couldn't identify this person.
What, their handwriting?
Only 5 people were identifiable.
Do you know the people on that petition?
We went through it. We counted them. It was 5 people.
But
You do
because
agree to that?
But because he couldn't understand their handwriting and spell it correctly, I mean, I thought I heard him say that he knows those people on that list. I thought I heard that. I didn't think that was an issue. I thought you were satisfied
With the petition?
with the signatures. I thought you were.
All right, anything else?
No.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to go off the...
Closing,
Well, we're not in closing. This is a response to his motion to dismiss.
fine.
Okay, thank you. We're off the record. We're back on the record. Our 3 p.m. case, Dew Liquors, 2610 Harford Road. There was a motion to dismiss by Mr. Kudinski. The board is looking at the evidence that's presented thus far, but we really don't have to get that far. The board reviewed the petition that was received here, a protest of renewal petition received on March 27th. Mr. Kudinski's motion came as a preliminary matter and before the testimony of Mr. Mark Washington. We have a requirement that 10 residents, commercial tenants who are not holders or applicants for any license issued under this article in the immediate vicinity in which the licensed place of business is located. And Mr. Kudinski, and I think the board was more interested in determining whether or not the 10 signatories were in the immediate vicinity, which I think certainly the board was leaning towards believing that the immediate vicinity rule had been, that bar had been, that hurdle had been crossed. During the board's examining of Mr. Washington, we did inquire about signature number 4, 1706 Montpelier Street. A person here at 1706 Montpelier Street has given their address, given their cell phone number, and even though it's not legally important, it said the undersigned will be attending the liquor board hearing, which isn't a legal requirement in our opinion, but it might help if they were here. We did get testimony. We did receive testimony from Mr. Washington that there were some attempts possibly at coercion of the witnesses. Nothing was conclusively established. But in short, the due process of the licensee under the United States Constitution and the Maryland Declaration of Rights would infer that we ought to know the names of the 10 residents in order to establish residency, in order to know who signed the petition. Signature number 4, the resident at 1706 Montpelier Street, is completely illegible. On direct examination, Mr. Washington indicated he did not know who that person was. Therefore, there are 9 valid signatures here. We believe if we can't identify who the resident is, that we can't count them as a resident. Otherwise, we would just turn in petitions with 10 anonymous names on them, and that would work. But when you've got an anonymous name, we're not going to count it. If there had been more signatures on this petition, this would not be a big deal. But because there are exactly 10 signatures, we cannot count the 4th signature, the 1706 Montpelier Street resident, and therefore there are 9 valid residents on this petition, and the petition is denied. We're off the record. And we're adjourned.